Welcome everybody. It's great to have everyone from the Sparx Systems YouTube audience join us today. My name's Scott and I'm going to be joined by Stephen in a moment. Good morning, Stephen. How are you today?
Good morning, Scott. I'm very well, thank you.
That's good to hear. I understand we're going to learn a little bit about user stories today. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right, Scott. I just want to say a couple of things about this. Enterprise Architect has been a tool that's been around, for nearly 24 years or more. And it's evolved, Scott, as the way that we manage projects, the way that we build applications, the way that we deal with systems, the way that we deal with all sorts of things like strategy, from high level ideas about strategic importance, right down to the nuts and bolts of things and engineering systems and the detailed lines of code. So it's a tool for all seasons. And it's evolved over that time in keeping pace with all of the things that have been going on in our very, very volatile and changing industry. And the product owners and the that have been looking at the functionality have kept pace with what users have want. So the developers, the product owners listen to what users want. And one thing that's come up in the time that the tool has been around is this concept of iterative and incremental development, which actually has been around for a long time. It's an old fashioned in new clothes, if you like. It's been around since since the late 70s, early 80s. But there's a lot of interest in what people call agile development. So there are a lot of teams using it. So what we're going to look at today is how Enterprise Architect has embraced that, that discipline or that way of working in conjunction, obviously, with more traditional ways of working, and different teams work differently. So that's what we're going to be looking at today is some things about agile development. Now, let's have a look at the tool. But the first thing we want to do, Scott, is set our perspective. And so we go to the top right-hand corner here. Earlier, I've been working on some strategic models with some CEOs and CFOs that are, wanting to understand the strategic importance of a particular endeavor. So let's change our perspective. We're going to change it to construction and project management. And you can see now that the tool has changed. Let's go back to our home screen there, and let's look at this toolbox here, the project management toolbox. So let's add a diagram or a new package, which we always do to incorporate our elements that we're going to add. So under product management, I'm going to put another package called user stories. So the package goes in, and I want to create a new user story. And so if I look down in the toolbox here, you can see under work items, we've got epics, which are kind of sets of stories, and user stories. We won't worry about the epics at the moment. We'll focus on the user stories. So we'll drag this user story from the toolbox directly onto that package in the project browser. We get that one there. I'm just going to put some text into that one, and you can see what this one is about now is, and we look at this over in the properties window over here. You can see that, and I'll just bring that up in the properties window and read it in a bit more detail. You can see a full view of it there. So as a motorist, I want to easily pay for parking using multiple payment methods. Kind of a common thing. You've got, pocket full of coins, but not enough money to cover it. So you want to pay with a bit of this and that, or two different types of credit cards. There might be two people sharing the parking. So let's put some text into that, and we can put that in right in this window here, Scott, in the properties window there. And you'll see now when I go OK to that's going to also pop up here in the notes window there. So, that's just a simple user story. Let's put another one in. We can do exactly the same thing, and let's drag another one from that list over here, user story, and I'll drag it again, doing the same thing. And again, I'll put in the name of it there. We'll come back and look at that in just a minute. And let's have a look at some notes for that. Again, we select that one in the project browser and let's enter some notes. So as a parking inspector, once I put the wrong thing in there, let me just go back and do that. Just get some notes that are applicable to that particular item. So a comprehensive digital tracking system enables inspectors to efficiently monitor parking. So you can see previously with lots of elements, we had rather short names. In this one, we've got the ability to put in, quite a long name. That's true for all elements, but in this particular case, it makes sense to write that in that way. So as a motorist, I want to easily pay for parking, and this one here, as a parking inspector, I want a digital system that allows me to quickly verify parking payments and track violations. So, and we've got the information there about more detail. And of course, Scott, you can put any additional information into this notes field, or add your own properties as tags and all sorts of other things. Let's see how we could use these elements on a diagram. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a diagram here, and I'll say new diagram using the little icon from the browser toolbar. I'll say new diagram there, and I'll just say it's a project management diagram. I'm going to say user stories, and I'm going to say it's for the parking inspector. So I just want to focus on the parking inspector for a minute. And so I'll create that diagram. And as always, we can drag elements from the toolbox. And over here, let's put in another thing which is interesting for the development method with user stories. Let's put in a package called personas. Now, sure, you, like everyone, Scott, is familiar with Agile development and the idea of a persona. So let's do that, and let's look at putting in a persona. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag an element from the toolbox again onto this element here, and I'm going to call this persona. I'm going to call it Roger, and we'll sort of put in some details about Roger, 45-year male inspector. So just a couple of details. People can put in their own type of description of these things. I like to put in kind of just a very, very quick summary of what's going on with this particular persona. So I'm going to drag that persona now onto the diagram, and I'll put it in as a link. You see that comes in there with persona. Now I can put any amount of detail about Roger in here. I can talk about his name, his background, the kind of maybe his familiarity with technology, all of the kind of things that will help someone understand that. Now I'm going to drag in this user story onto the palette, onto the canvas as well, and there we have the user story, and that's there. And I can also display the notes, Scott, if I want to. I can say, look, let's display the notes for that. I might do it at a diagram level using the compartments panel of the properties window, and I'll say I want to display the notes. And you can see then the notes come in. I get a much better sense of what's going on there. Now, if I had some details about Roger as well, Roger has been with the council, capital C for council there, for 10 years, and has a history in parking meter enforcement. And let's leave that there, and you'll see now that pops up there as well. Now, what is an interesting thing to do is to give some sort of pictorial or visual thing to that element. So what I'm going to do is I need now just to change my perspective from project management. I'm going to be looking at UML perspective, and you see how easy this is to do. And change it to all UML there. The tool focus changes. I'm going to select this element again, change the serial type, and what I need to do here now is look for my persona, and I want to set the persona. I've just gone past it, so I'll set that persona there, and so that's set that as a persona. What I really want to do now, Scott, is to select an alternate image and give this a little bit more interest. So I'm going to do that through the appearance element on the context menu, and say I'll set an alternate image. Now, what I'm going to look for is a parking inspector, and there we have one. So we'll put that one in and make that the image. Again, I'll resize that down to a more sensible size there. You can see that persona's located under there. Now I just want to connect that up and connect that across to that user story there. So you can see there that the name, the persona, Roger, 45 years male inspector, is there. Now, of course, we could have a number of different personas, and we could, connect those to a number of user stories. And of course, the parking inspector may well have a number of different user stories that they're interested in. So
yes,
what I'm going to do there, I'm going to stop there, Scott, and get you to do some of your magic, and let's get a few more user stories into this model.
Okay.
Thanks for that, Scott. That's meant that we've got a number of other user stories in here. We had our as a motorist one, and as a parking inspector, we now got something for city transportation manager, local business owners, mobile app developers, night shift workers. So you can see the kind of things that you want to cover when you're detailing these stories. We've also added another persona, Jenny, a 23-year-old female hair salon owner. So let's see, how she's been modelled in here. So we have another diagram now, and you can see that user story is on the diagram there, and there's some details about this intelligent parking system that promotes quick parking exchanges, can increase customer access to local businesses, which is what Jenny wants. If you read her notes, you can see as well that Jenny's a new business owner and conscious of the fact that her customers need to park for several hours to attend hairstyling appointments. So, Scott, that's what we've covered today, the modelling of user stories. And again, I just want to reiterate the fact that Enterprise Architect has developed over a large number of years, and it's been a prominent world-class tool for that period, and has adopted and changed with the new ways of working. And Agile development has come into vogue, and people are using it extensively. And Enterprise Architect can do traditional modelling with traditional development methods, as well as any of the modern ways of working.
Fantastic. That's great, Stephen. I'd like to remind all of our audience to like, comment, and subscribe on the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. We love hearing your comments. We love getting feedback about the videos and hearing about any questions that you might have, because that will often inform us when we create future videos. So continue to like, comment, and subscribe. We love hearing from you. Thank you, Stephen, for all your contributions today. It's great to see some user stories being developed in Enterprise Architect. They look great.
Always a pleasure, Scott.